Hey friends, Victor Pisano with Charge Up. As part of our Building the Champions Mindset series, I wanted to welcome a great friend of mine who, without a doubt, is one of the most fun, entertaining, hysterical, and most authentic people that there are out there. Hello, Sam Fischer.
What's up, Victor?
This is the coolest thing ever. I have to tell you, literally, I called your agent 1,000 times just to get this deal done. So I'm pumped up. I
Here,
really appreciate it.
of course. Thanks for thinking of me and for having me.
Well, I can't imagine the show not having you. I kind of am thinking about Emmy status at this point once this is complete.
Let's
This
go
could
there together.
change. I like that. The Unknown Pro and Charge Up.
Let's do it.
I like tied for best podcast.
Yes.
I think this could work.
I believe it.
Let's do this, Sam. I want to ask you 3 questions, and they're just going to be phrases, and I want you to tell me the first thing that pops into your mind.
Okay.
Okay? Loyola Marymount.
Where I went to school.
I wasn't lying, folks.
Nice.
I wasn't lying. Chocolate milk.
My blood.
McDonald's.
The love of my life.
I'm telling you, she reads like a newspaper. It's the best thing in the entire world. Now, here's the best part. Beauty, brains, brawn. I want you to hear some of these accolades that she has earned in her career. And I have decided not to include the accolades from her pageant circuit growing up. I want to make this strictly softball, and I hope that's okay, Sam?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Because we'd be here for days if I do the pageant stuff.
Yeah, I have too many sashes.
Absolutely. And the trophies that are taller than you. I know that, so I had to make a decision.
Thank you.
So Sam graduated from Simi High School in 2008. She was the Ventura County Player of the Year and a high school All-American. She played her college ball at none other than Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California. 3-time first-team All-Conference, 2-time Player of the Year, second-team West Region, second-team NFCA All-American, and may I add an asterisk to that, first All-American in LMU softball program history. She led the nation with a batting average of .492 and an on-base percentage of .665 in 2012, made Team USA in 2012 and played through 2016, joined the Akron Racers in 2016, played 2 seasons there professionally, then went on with a multi-million-dollar contract to play scrapyard fast pitch in 2018 and ended up playing 2 seasons there, then became a free agent. And people everywhere were fighting to sign her. And she not only signed to 1 team, she signed to 2. She is now signed to play with the California Commotion in the NPF for the 2020 season, as well as to play with Athletes Unlimited in their debut season in the fall of 2020. But here's the cool things. You can play college ball. Like, you know what? That's an incredible accomplishment in and of itself. But Sam Fischer was inducted into the LMU Hall of Fame in 2019 by a shirt and had her jersey number retired at LMU in 2019. 52.
Bless.
I mean, are you miss LMU? Like when you walk around there, do they just give you no, you don't walk around there. I'm sure you have your own golf cart. And do you have the wave?
Sometimes I do that just around the neighborhood when I'm walking the dog, but then they just worry about the crazy lady who lives across the street. But no, it's cool.
I read a couple of stories where I guess you were playing and the LMU coach was going to be somewhere else. But he was I got to grab her because I don't want anyone else to see her.
Yeah.
So he literally sent an assistant coach to go take care of business.
Yeah.
Looking back, crazy.
It's crazy because even before then, the very first time that my coach saw me at a showcase, he went to the wrong field. He ended up at we were in Arizona, and there's a lot of different complexes out there. He was trying to get to another complex. He ended up at the complex I was at and saw me, and that's kind of how it took off from there. So that to me speaks volumes of you weren't even supposed to see me, and you accidentally ended up here. So
you made your imprint. So congratulations on that. That's
thank
something
you.
really cool. Really cool.
Yeah,
So like I said, I'm excited that you're on here. I think there is an opportunity for people to learn a tremendous amount from you, but a totally different side of the game. So the first question, I want to be serious on this, is do a lot of people, do they assume that you're a great chess player because of your brother?
What? My brother played chess.
Oh, you're not Bobby Fischer's sister? Oh, my bad. I didn't do my research good enough.
That's so
I'm
funny.
so embarrassed.
We have a chess set here, but I don't think my brother plays it a whole lot. His name's Tom.
No, Bobby's the one who's famous. He beat the Watson computer. Tom didn't.
Tom didn't know.
But I bet Rick could beat anybody.
Rick could beat anybody at anything at any time.
There's
Even
not a
when I was
doubt.
younger, there was no I'm letting the kids win. There was, you race me to the car, and if you win, but you're probably going to lose.
Yeah, Rick didn't care.
Nope.
He's a winner. He's a natural born winner.
He's a natural born winner. I learned how to lose from a very young age.
Oh, the lessons. So as a distinguished member of LMU, how about just the first 3 lines of the fight song?
I got nothing. I don't even know if we have a fight song. Here's the thing. Our school is super academic first, and then it's like, we also have sports. So you know what? I'll do a Google and see if we have a fight song. I'll learn it, and then I'll sing it to you at a later date.
Can I get the exclusive?
Absolutely.
Okay, I feel better.
You'll be my producer.
This whole beginning is a perfect segue to exactly the point I want to get to.
Good.
And we are doing so many serious discussions on building a champion's mindset. I've had some players, I'll send you their bios, but it's a person, Haley McClinney.
Heard of her.
Okay.
Briefly.
Someone recommended. Kelsey Stewart.
Also ringing a bell. Yeah.
I mean, I had what was her name? Austin or Houston. Dallas McGee.
McGee.
Yeah. You've heard of her?
I have, yeah, mentioned just in passing.
And then I had Sasha Palacios.
That name does sound familiar. Yeah, all very vague, but yeah.
Tori Vidal that's another one that.
Interesting.
Like I didn't know them, but I was like, Sam Fischer. Wow, this is the coolest thing. But a lot of those were real serious talks, and I know there's a serious you. But as I began to hear about you from so many people that you've played with, those that coached you, all I ever heard about was how much fun Sam Fischer. It's funny too, because you were always Sam Fischer. Why couldn't they have just said Sam? Oh, Sam Fischer is so funny. Oh, Sam Fischer. Oh, Sam Fischer. And then we met and spent some time in February, and I was like, I totally get it. I totally understand. Every single thing everybody said was completely true.
Wow.
So, you have the carefree spirit. It comes out from you. I get it. I can see you being an incredible teammate. But my favorite part is you find levity in situations, and it shows so much self-confidence that it's almost inspiring to hear you, and it makes other people comfortable in their own skin. And for an elite athlete like you, you're not pretending. I mean, this is your personality.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you though, have you always been this way, or do you recall a time in your playing career where you realized I just have to have fun? The game is supposed to be fun.
Thinking back on it, I've been playing for so long, but even off the field, I feel like I'm that person too, or just like, whatever, let's just joke about it, But there were times where I was maybe a little bit too hard on myself when I was playing. If I didn't have a good at bat, or if I booted a ball or something, where it would really impact me and just be, slumped shoulders and down on myself. And from that, I had to learn, okay, how do I let it go quicker? And how do I deal with it? And so I think it was just kind of like myself merging into one, where I could be, that person who's just fun and laughing all the time and not really, and being carefree. I can do that on the field too, while also being very serious about the sport. So that's something that I've wanted to make sure, comes across, is that I'm very serious about what I do, and I take what I do very seriously, but I can also be lighthearted, have fun, make fun of mistakes, and deal with things like that. It's not one or the other, that I can figure out a way to be both.
Did that levity, though, did that just being comfortable, did it improve your self-confidence as a result?
Yeah, absolutely. If I had a bad game, and even just talking to my dad after stuff like that, he'd be like, you know what, get him next time. Oh, okay, cool. There is a next time. I will get him. And it does help me think, wow, like that mistake I made, that was pretty stupid. And it did help the short-term memory, so that I could then focus on what was next, focus on the next play. So yeah, I think it definitely helped me improve my game, improve my mentality, and just kind of create what I have become.
Because, when you look at athletes today, you just see the amount of stress that they carry, and that's
Mm-hmm.
on the field, off the field. I feel like they're struggling to try to achieve perfection. And in my mind, like, that's kind of a bad word. I don't like the word perfect, because I
Yeah.
see it as a finish line, and nobody's really finished. But yet, perfection, that's all they fight for. And I think that it really is something that has got to be addressed. Do you see that being the role of parents and coaches, or is it one or the other that has to jump in there and teach these athletes that their value is not based on their performance?
I honestly feel like it's a group effort, because your coach, you're with your coach, who is someone who's impacting you at practice and in games when you're there. But your parents are who you go home with and who you spend more time with. So I think it's a total group effort, in that parents have a really big role to play. And I think my parents did a great job with me, because after a bad game, a bad weekend, we're really proud of you. We're still proud of you, even though you really embarrassed yourself out there. It was never any time that I started to get down on myself. I'll never forget. I was a senior in high school, and I had a bad day, a bad few games. And I told my dad, man, I either strike out or I hit a home run. That's what I had done that day. I literally either struck out or hit a home run. And I thought, that's not good. That sucks. And he's like, I don't want to hear you talking like that. If that's really how you feel, then all right, get in the car. We're going home. And it made me realize, like, all right, damn, dad, like, okay. A lot of responsibility goes in the parents' hands, but also the coaches, because perfectionism, obviously being perfect is not a thing, right? Like it's not going to happen. I would never want to stop striving to be better, right? So I did have, even in my work that I do now, trying to get better and improve, striving for that, like shooting for the moon kind of thing, helped me along the way in my work, in my practice, in my repetition. But making mistakes are part of that path. And that's, I think, a coach's job to say, hey, you know what? You're in control of a few things when you're playing, but if you get a bad hop, or if something happens where it's just part of the game, you make an error, you overthrow a ball. Okay, why did that happen? How can we prevent it from happening again? You're not any lesser of a player because a ball went in between your legs. So I do think it's a conversation that needs to happen constantly of, hey, you know what? How do you feel about that game? What do you think about that swing? Just making it a learning process, so that these players don't feel like, wow, I'm a real disappointment because I didn't go 3 for 3. And that's how I feel about myself now. It's separate, what you do, who you are, being able to keep it separate. And did you try your best? Did you work hard? Okay, cool. Then the chips will fall where they may, with all that in mind.
So when you have the opportunity to give lessons, do you try to instill a little bit of that self-confidence and that perspective with who you're working with?
Absolutely. I remember I actually right back here, I used to have a cage before I went and lived in Japan. I had a cage and I would do lessons in the backyard. And I remember I had a girl who was fairly new at softball and she was just having a tough time dealing with, you know, not hitting, not doing well. And so for the first 10 minutes of our lesson, I said, all right, put your bat down. And we laid on the ground and we looked up at the sky and we just talked about, hey, you know what? Do I like what I'm doing? Is it hard? Yes, yes. Well, let's just keep doing it because we like it. This is part of the process, is doing bad. Kind of sucking is part of the process to getting kind of good. You have to suck at some point. We all didn't walk right away when we were born, you know? So yeah, I actually really love being able to connect with players, the younger ones, especially on, okay, am I beating myself up for a reason or am I just being hard on myself to be hard on myself, you know, and just trying to find a way to, you know, expect a lot out of yourself, of course, set standards for yourself, but also giving yourself a break if you're not 100% of the time on base or making the perfect plays all the time.
Absolutely. That's why when I talk, I'll tell so many people, especially coaches or adults, that these players more than ever need connection. They
Yeah.
need somebody that they can trust, someone who's authentic with them, and someone who gets to know them outside of just being an athlete. And once that trust is built up with people like you talking them in lessons, and then you have the parent at home who's like yours were, and then you have the coaches who also feel that same way. I think everybody realizes, okay, you know what? This game can be fun. I have control of making it fun.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I know it's tough because, you know, high school kids, 14, 15, 16 years old, that's asking a lot because they're so focused on what they want to achieve. But at the same time, if the game is not fun, the process is
Yeah,
lost and the outcome isn't going to be what it needs to be.
yeah.
So at what point in your career did you realize that you had that gift, that you had the opportunity to play at another level? And looking back, not just another level being college, but then to play with Team USA and now to be professional. At what point did the transition come in where you said, this is what I want to do? Like, it's my purpose.
Yeah, I honestly, when I got the invite to try out for Team USA, it was honestly a feeling more of, oh my God, I'm so lucky. Oh my God, I'm so grateful. It wasn't ever like, okay, this was the next step. It was when I was a kid. I actually have a picture of myself from Oklahoma City when I was there for nationals when I was a senior in high school, and we were in the shop, the shop, looking at all
Uh-huh.
the USA stuff. It was the year they were going to the Olympics, and I had a picture of, and I had a helmet on, a USA helmet. And I was, like obviously in all my pictures, I'm like, hey. And looking back on that, it was like that would be a dream. From a young age, be like, wow, that'd be cool to play in the Olympics. Wow, cool. But I don't think I realized until I don't know if I ever could say, wow, I have a real gift for softball. It was just, I love this sport and I am going to spend as much time with it as possible. And becoming a better player was a byproduct of that. It was easy to show up early and stay late to practice. It was easy to go out on it. My dad and I have been out to a softball field on every major holiday like Christmas Day, presents are done. Cool. Let's go. Thanksgiving morning before we eat at 2:00, which I don't know why people eat at 2 in the afternoon on Thanksgiving for dinner. It's very strange, but obviously we're going to the field. My birthday, his birthday, father's, there's so many things where it's like, yeah, let's do it. That's the best part of the day. So because I loved being around it and because I had him who was able to put that time in with me, I got better. And getting better made me feel like, oh my God, look at what's happening. Made me want to keep getting better, So it was kind of an evolution in that way, not so much this is my end goal. It's goals started to happen along the way as I started to get better. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but
No,
I've
it
just
does.
high
But let
school.
me ask you, don't you think that part of that realization also came from a foundation of loving the game?
Yeah.
And then I go right back with the levity, how you are just you're so in the moment that you realize very quickly when it's time to hold on to something or it's time to let go of something. I think that's what makes you such a unique player and why your teammates just bond to you. I almost think they feed off of you, and it makes them more comfortable because they realize how quickly you ask yourself, can I control this? Okay, if the answer is yes, I'm going to take care of it. If I can't control it, I got to let it go. Like,
Yeah.
it's a waste of time.
Yeah. I think that looking at my life now and thinking of all the hours that I've put into it, there's no way I could have been doing this if I didn't enjoy every second. This wouldn't have been possible if I just kind of liked it. It just wouldn't have worked out that way. So yeah, no, I do think that feeling grateful has a lot to do with it too, because every opportunity that I've gotten out of college has been, I just can't believe that this is my life. And I think I try to, there's down days, there's days where my swing doesn't feel great and I'm like, wow, good job, Sam, but the fact that I get to go out and have a bad day swinging and that's my life, I couldn't have painted a better picture for what loving this sport could have given me. Like, there's no way I could have even imagined this when I was a 15-year-old kid or something like that. So just,
I love the fact that you use the word gratitude, because once you get to the point that gratitude kicks in, I believe you look at things different. Your perspective changes. No longer a softball an obligation. It's a privilege. And once it's a privilege, you start carrying pride.
yeah,
And I believe that what separates good from great is really once you make that transition, once you realize that jersey you wear, you're representing more than just yourself. When you look in the dugout, that's the bond, that's your family. And it is something that you have so much pride in, that you not only want to let yourself down in those core values and non-negotiables, but you don't want to let anyone else down around you. And that's what's so cool watching you and your teammates is you celebrate the little things.
yeah, yeah. I love every part. People make fun of me a lot when I talk about getting bunts down, because it's such a small part of the game. But man, it's just so huge, like
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a lost
there's
art too.
truly, but just, I can't help but have fun being surrounded, and some of the amazing people I've been able to meet, just even just watching someone swing a bat, I'm like, wow, that is an art. I can't, I can't think of a better way to spend my time.
And the only thing I really haven't observed, I'm curious, what kind of leader are you on the field? Are you a vocal leader? Are you a lead by example? How did you lead? And did it change from high school to college to now?
That's a really good question, especially because I am very outgoing in the softball world. I remember in high school and in college, I didn't want to be a captain. I didn't want to be somebody who had to be in charge or lead or say stuff or whatever. I just wanted to focus on what I needed to do to put our team in a good position. I wanted to get my reps, do my work, throw the ball where they said to throw it, and boom, be done. Right. But I think that that's something that I've learned as I've gotten older. Cause even senior year in college, I was a captain. I didn't want to be, but it was just, okay, we'll pick who rooms with who on the road, and we'll choose what uniform and this and that. So it wasn't super like captain kind of job. But as I've gotten older and as I've met different leaders and met different people that I look up to, I'm now in a position where I'm one of the oldest ones there on the teams and stuff. So I feel like my leadership style is more of a lead by example. And if you have a question, come to Samuel. Like they call me Mama Samuel a lot. Sometimes they call me Grandma, but I digress. But it's a lot of how can I answer these questions? How can I show someone something that maybe it's new for them because they're new to the team? But I think I've gotten a little bit more into being a vocal leader, especially if there's something that needs to be done. I'm like, all right, who's going to get those foul balls kind of thing. But it used to scare me. I didn't like it. I just wanted to focus on hitting, fielding, and throwing.
And that's crazy to me because I see you as a natural voice on the field. And when you're successful and you have that natural voice on the field, it's easy to influence people. But I also could see the opposite, what you talked about, leading by example. It's
Yeah,
also influencing people, and they want to emulate your actions and they want to be just as good. And so it
yeah,
does raise everybody's game.
Yeah,
So,
if that's for the best, then that's all I want for the team is whatever is best.
so for let's say the high school player right now, what lessons have you learned along the way that really became who you are today? What leadership traits, what characteristics, what do they need to capture when they do mental reps in their head of the core values they need to carry?
That's that's a very deep and great question, Victor, I might say.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You know, I just think so many things come down to being able to admit that I'm not the best at this right now. This is not softball is such a game of nothing is set in stone. One play to the next, it's not going to look the same. Even if it's the same ground ball to the same position, it could be something totally different. So it's okay to admit that you don't know something. I think that's huge in the learning process for these players because when I think about my game at 15 and I think about my game now at almost 30, it has transformed. If I would have said, I know everything, I'm as good as I'm going to get at 15, I'm not sitting here having this conversation with you. I don't have that list of accolades, you know? So I think being able to admit that you don't know everything, being willing to learn, being willing to listen to coaches, teammates, anybody involved with the game, I think that that's a really, really big factor. Other than, of course, putting the work in. Some girls don't have to work as hard as other girls. It's just, it is what it is. Some athletes are just have that natural a little bit more than others. So learning what's best for you. My routine and how I do things is best for me, but that doesn't mean it's going to be best for the person next to me. It's about, you know, learning about yourself as well as learning about the game. That like knowing, you know what, if I take a swing today, it's not going to make me feel better. I'm going to give it a rest. I'm going to let it, you know, I'm going to sleep on it. And then tomorrow I'm going to be fresh and I'm going to be ready to go with swings. That can be how somebody else functions. Me, I have to swing the bat till my hands are bloody so that I can feel, you know, good. But that's my thing. That might not work for someone else. So learning the game and learning yourself so that you can be the best player that you can be in your own way.
So I think I can assume the answer, but I still want to ask this. Who's been the biggest influence in your life?
That's a real tough one. I have to think on it for a while.
Okay, let me asterisk that. Other than me.
Oh, you know, I mean, my parents, I can't believe what they have done for me, you know, and my dad gets a lot of credit because he was the one taking me to practice. He was the one staying after and hitting ground balls with me on, you know, Christmas. But my mom also giving me kind of the whole picture of, sweetie, so you didn't get a hit today. Your hair, it looked good. Kind of that a lot. My dad is a total goof. And if you follow me on the Instagram, you can see him dancing and messing
did
around
you
and being
did you
goofy.
just call it the Instagram?
Oh yeah. I don't know when the Instagram and the Twitter. That's what they are.
That's old. That sounds like you're
I,
old. You can't say the
I, I
Instagram.
am hip. Okay.
But you're
Um,
right. If I see, and it's true, that's where I see a lot of the Rick posts.
he is a total goof. But my mom also has this weird way of being kind of goofy and letting me just embrace. Like I swear to God, she'll tell me my hair looked good after a terrible game, and I'll be like, "Girl, you're right. You are right. I brushed it." You know. So
It contributed to the levity that you have. I mean, that's a great example.
yeah. So
Perspective.
yeah, exactly. So while they were different, you know, obviously I spent more time in the softball part of my life with my dad. And I mean, he said the other day, he was joking. He's like, God, I just do so much for other people. Like cause while he's throwing me short hops, he's like, I just do this, do for you. And I said to him, I kind of stopped and we kind of had a moment for a second. And I was like, if you hadn't, I would not be here. If it wasn't about me sacrificing my time and my social life or anything else, he sacrificed too. After coming home from work, I'm like, Dad, let's go to the batting cage. He's like, all right, you know? So he, he was huge. He was instrumental in me being able to sit here and have this conversation. And then my mom would be at home and, had made me some snacks, and just, she was almost like, if you do good, if you do bad, as long as you pick up your jeans off the floor, I don't really care. Yeah.
Perspective.
Yep.
So curious, how many games did Rick miss of your career?
That guy, I tell you. I played it was 6.
Sick. 2 hands.
2 hands?
But it was the same weekend.
It was all the same. Yeah, it was a tournament in
Okay.
Florida. He couldn't get work off, which I honestly think he should have quit, but whatever.
What is more important, Dad? I'm so sick of the choices you're making.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing for me.
It is graduation time. There are people, virtually walking that stage.
Mm-hmm.
If Samu was able to be on every stage and hand out one characteristic to every graduating senior that could benefit them for the rest of their lives and like literally make them so fulfilled, what is that one thing that Samu was handing out?
Oh my God. I've never been asked this question ever.
This is Charge Up. We do things at an entirely different level.
Hard right up. Man, one characteristic just that could benefit everyone. This is tough because I want to say the right thing. There's things that can benefit, but what's the one? I think the word content isn't used enough. And I think that you have to obviously do a certain amount of work in order to become content. But I think that if everybody who's going off into their lives could learn how to be content with who they are, how they got to be where they are, where they're going, who they surround themselves with. If you can just sit back and be like, wow, like this is my life. I am content. I wish that for everyone, because not being a lot of times people, I'm sure people will say, when I get this, I'll be happy. When I get this, I'll be happy. And that's not being content. That's you're trying to, you want to change something in order to have a certain emotion. If you can look around and say, if this is how my life was every day for the rest of it, I'm good. I wish that for everyone.
Never have had that answer before, and I think it may be my favorite because it even made me think. We don't think about being content enough. When do we stop? Like, I'm good at stopping and realizing the most important moment is now. But you almost have to put a comment to that. The most important moment is now, and are you happy where you are? And if the answer is yes, take a deep breath, right? And just live that moment.
Yeah.
That's some good. Exactly. That is why you've earned the title Samu. That's an excellent answer.
Thank you.
So here's how I want to end this.
Let's do it.
Simple game, simple rules. I think you've heard it before. We're going to play start them, bench them, and cut them.
Oh, I'm out of here. Bye.
So here we go. Okay, so player number 1, Amanda Chittister.
Oh.
Player number 2, Sam Chow. Player number 3, the Jade Hewitt. And this is start them, bench them, cut them.
I wish I could pretend my internet was going out right now so I didn't have to answer that. Because I know one of them will cut me physically.
Physically.
If I cut her.
And one may trade you.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Oh my God. Cut one, bench one, start one. Well, oh dear. Okay. Well, I got to start Jade Hewitt because I'm terrified of her. I'm gonna have Chitty coming off the bench, and I'm gonna cut Sam Chow because I know she'll forgive me because I'll just buy her McDonald's.
She'll bounce back. I mean, she's strong and she's resilient.
Yeah.
She'll find what's best for her.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I know that Chitty would support me in my decision of starting Jade because she might also be terrified of Jade.
So this is actually collusion. There's a reason behind this.
I know that Jade will come and when she hears this, and if she thinks I was gonna think of anything but starting her, I can just see her be like,
She's going to hear your answer and she's going to be like the Godfather.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So whew, that was a tough one. Thank you for that.
You did very good. You did good. But I got to be honest, this was a great show because it wasn't different than the others I do, but it showed people a side that can really be a fun player to play with. It showed people a side that when we talk about building a champion's mindset, part of a mindset is, wow, you used the word content. Part of a mindset is levity. Part of a mindset is being the kind of teammate who doesn't carry so much pressure. They control the
Yeah.
controllables. And that is really the intent of bringing you on here, because this is the kind of discussion that I think people watch and inside they're like, I'm like that and I wish I could like portray that. And this is going to make them so much more comfortable realizing, oh, like you can portray that and you can achieve amazing things being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
So I want to sincerely thank you for being a part of the show. I know you're crazy busy. I know you're on tour. I love your Zoom background. We have to talk about that later because I've got to get that background for my shows. But I appreciate it. I really do, Samu. You are awesome. I spent 1 week with you, but I feel like I've known you for 100 years. I know we have our calls. We have a call Saturday with the Minnesota Pro Crew. What's up with the Pro Crew? You're the best. You are a great influence.
Oh, I'm just glad that we got to have a good chat and talk about stuff that's really important,
Do me a favor. Tell people about your newest venture and where they can find you.
Oh, man. Well, I just started a podcast myself. It's called The Unknown Pro, and right now it's on YouTube, but I am going to release it actually. What day is it today? Friday? I'm going to release it tomorrow, May 9th. It's going to go on all the other platforms for podcasts, so where you can just go on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and listen to them there. But just me kind of talking to people, just kind of, hey, how'd you get to be a good softball player? Okay, cool. No.
And then you've done some video interviews as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So far you've done, Chitty, you had Jade.
Mm-hmm.
Who else has been on the
I had
air?
Tim Shaw and Sarah Groenwagen. So
See, that's
those
awesome.
those are my debut episodes. I'm still going to be loading everybody on YouTube because they are all video interviews. But yeah, I've got a lot of good conversations in store. I've been having a lot of fun just talking to some people my friends. Just learning more about them. So it's been fun.
And where can they find you on Instagram?
At Sam Fischer 52 is mine, but then at the Unknown Pro 52 is the podcast.
But they can just get it through the link
Yes.
on your bio.
Yeah, the link is on my bio, and I tagged it in there too. So it's all, if you find me at Sam Fischer 52, you'll find everything else too.
I encourage every single person to follow, and you will realize how crazy this person is, and you'll hear other people say it. So jump on there. It's amazing. Sam, thanks for your time. Have a great day. And don't forget,
charge up.
Charge up. You have a good day, girl.
Thanks, Victor.
Thank you.